Hey, this is Gribbly, back for Rec Room AMA video number 2. We're going to do the same format as last time. We got a bunch of questions upvoted on the Reddit. I'm going to go through as many as I can. Before I get started, I'm going to say something I wish I'd said in the first AMA video. So a question came in and it was like, hey, how can we give feedback and ask for things and, try and get you guys to focus on something? And I said, make sure you get it upvoted on the Canny. That's recroom.canny.io. Talk to us on the Discord, talk to us on the Reddit, all that kind of stuff. And that's all true, so definitely do those things. But I wish I'd said one additional thing, and that is like something we really look for is what are people trying to build? When we see people trying to build, whether it's escape rooms or PvP rooms or, what put on plays or whatever it may be, that's often really inspiring to us to be like, oh, we really want to help make those creations better. We see people have energy and passion and excitement for building a certain kind of thing. So we're going to try and help, fix the things that are standing in their way, add the features they need, whatever it may be. So just wanted to add that onto my answer from last week because I didn't say that and I wish I did. Try and build it. And if we see you trying to build it, we're going to try and help you. All right, hopefully that makes sense. And with that, let's jump into this week's questions. All right, first question. Let's bring it up here. Callum the Clueless asks, when will the level cap be increased? Okay, that's a good question. I know I've said a million times, oh yeah, we're about to up the level cap, and we always get busy and do something else instead. We've kind of been doing that again. We've been busy building a bunch of stuff for the end of the year. I think realistically, early next year is when we'll hit the level cap. I was talking to B-Boz earlier today. I know he's got plans in this area, but we've kind of got a bunch of really cool stuff queued up for the end of the year that we hope you'll like. And I think realistically, we won't get to the level cap before early next year. So there's your answer there. Next question. Okay. So this question is from David Hall Jr. 15, who asks, can we get some statistics of the game, like registered accounts, active accounts, average peak time, new users since PSVR, blah, 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 Steam charts, give one part of the total? Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to think about what I can talk about. So one thing is, so the Steam audience of the platforms we're on, Steam is actually the smallest group of players that we have. We have a healthy number of players on Steam, but our other platforms are actually a bit larger. So that's kind of an interesting thing that might be surprising to a lot of players. What are some good statistics? So a milestone that we saw recently that we were pretty happy with was we saw Rec Room had been installed on 1 million VR headsets. And so that was a pretty exciting number to see. It means like 1 million people out there have at least downloaded and tried Rec Room. So that was a nice milestone. And that's before we ship screen mode. And so we've seen some nice growth from screen mode as well. So that's feeling pretty healthy there. What else can we talk about? Another fun milestone actually was pretty recently we saw the 50 millionth, so that's 50 million, room session. So that's like 50 million people going to a room, whether it's to play paintball, whether it's to do a cooking show, or whatever it might be, just to hang out in the rec center. That's 50 million room sessions. That's a lot of people having a lot of fun. So overall we feel good about Rec Room. We feel like it's really trucking along, and we see some really interesting opportunities opening up next year. So, right, good question. So this question is from Executioner, who asks, is there anything in the works for informing the main player base in-game about things? If people aren't on Reddit or Discord, they don't know about anything going on, and there's nothing to point them towards those sources or info about things that are going on except other players. So yeah, that's actually a great point, and something we've talked about a bit on the team. Yeah, it's true. Only a relatively small percentage of players turn up on the Discord or on the Reddit. So a lot of players that you meet, don't go there. And so you're right, that's a problem. We do a lot of communication on the Discord, a lot of communication on the Reddit. I think we can do a better job communicating in the game. So something we're planning to do very soon, in the next couple of updates, is in the new rec center, we set aside an area for a community board where there'll be like announcements and a little more detail and like things that are going on. We're also updating the event system a lot. So it'll be more possible to share events with more details. And so I think we can do more targeted Q&A events and stuff in the game and stuff like that. Maybe it'd be nice to figure out a way to get these AMAs watchable in the game. That's just me thinking out loud. You know, one thing I thought about is like, we could, this might be horrifying, but let me know what you think. One thing we could do is like have like a holotar that could pop up in the dorm room, kind of tell you important announcements, stuff like that. Hey, we just did this, maybe you want to check out that, we've changed that. So those are a few ideas, but I think the next one that we'll do for sure is the community board and the community area in the rec center. And we definitely want to expand on that over time, kind of have more community stuff showing up in the rec center, more ways that people can understand what's happening and what's new. But yeah, great point. You're absolutely right. All right, moving on. K Coyote 123 asks, will we ever be able to fill up cups? Well, let's see if it works right now. Okay, yeah, that's not really working, is it? So, probably not that soon. This is the kind of detail that we'd always love to get to. You know, it's always like there's a million little things that we could always improve. I think we're in a mode where we want to expand out and add more kind of bigger features, new things for you to play with, rather than going and making every detail perfect. I imagine in the fullness of time we will get to that. But yeah, I honestly wouldn't hold your breath for fillable cups anytime soon. Got to use your imagination, K Coyote. Okay. All right. So this question is from Dwayne AA, who says, "I'm 61 years old and I mostly play paintball. I like the twilight lighting in Spillway the best, as the bright skies on the other maps can be hard on my eyes. Is it possible to make the time of day a menu option the individual users can choose? I would like the option of a twilight lighting on all the various maps. All the neon in the original laser tag is also uncomfortable for my old eyes." All right. Well, first of all, Dwayne, great to hear that we have an older paintball player. I'm sure we have a bunch of older players out there. Just want to say welcome.
Feel free to practice as long as you like.
Just want to say welcome. Hope you're having fun. Yeah, and I hear you on the lighting.
Use the People tab on your watch to invite your friends to join you.
I should know better than to pick these rooms with reminders in them. Yeah, like, I think adding time of day to all of the maps is pretty tricky just because of the way we do the lighting. Then we may have some more options for that opening up down the road. But for now, yeah, it's not really going to be an option to go and like do a nighttime river or a nighttime anything like that. What we might be able to do is add more of a brightness slider that we can make easy to adjust on the fly. We're going to look into that because, you know, like, people come to us with all kinds of different, you know, capabilities. You know, some people are older like yourself. Some people just, you know, maybe have sensitive eyes. And so we really do our best to try and accommodate everyone and make it welcoming for everybody. So that's something we'll look into as an option. See if we can make that adjustable for people, and hopefully that'll help. All right, our next question is from Forbim. And he asks, how good does Rec Room work on the Pimax 5K Plus or 8K? Good question. So my understanding is it works fine. I've not actually used one of these headsets myself. I would like to. And actually this question is prompting me to go shake the tree, see if I can find someone who's got one so I can try it. My understanding is if you have at least a 1080 in your computer, the Pimax headset's going to work fine for you with Rec Room. So should work pretty well. If anyone's tried it, hit us up on the Reddit or the Discord. I'd love to hear your experience. All right, moving on. All right, let's see what we got here. So, next question is from Bert is the Word, who says, do you have an estimate for when the new quest will release? Well, Bert, yes, I do. I have an estimate. Oh, actually, I got a better estimate for you. I'll tell you when the new quest will be released. It'll be as soon as everyone on Reddit figures out how to spell crescendo. All right, moving on. Okay, so question from Shuckwill O'Neill. Will the new quest use durability for the weapons, or will they last forever like the other quests, or will it be some other third thing? Well, honestly, I don't know. So, you know, the quest team's working on quest. They're kind of, you know, hard at work creating all kinds of new and exciting stuff. I've done a little bit of playtesting with them. What I've seen has been super amazing. But the truth is, I don't know.
Press the start button on the scoreboard to play.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure exactly which way they're going to go with that stuff, and I don't think I'd tell you even if I did know. I think it's better for it to be a surprise. Here's what I will say. What I've seen so far is really exciting. I really love the direction they're going. There is some fun new stuff that you're going to play with. So yeah, stay tuned, and hopefully you'll like it. Let's see what we got here. So the next one is from Hyperhex Joe. All right, this is a long question I'm going to summarize. I know this sounds silly, but would pets ever be a possibility? Be fun to have a dog, cat, or even a parrot. Yeah, honestly, that's something we've talked about. It's not on our roadmap currently. I think there's a lot of other things that we want to do first. But definitely agree it would be super fun to have like a little rec room companion. My guess is, if I had to make a bet, my guess is that as we kind of build towards getting the creation systems good enough that you can build your own quests, I bet we get enough kind of, gizmos and circuits and various other features in there that you could build a little pet. People have already done some very simple things with like cats that'll watch you, or watch a ball that you throw. But we haven't really given people an ability to make things move around. So I bet you'll see some pets in custom rooms first. And maybe one day we'll do like a rec room companion or something like that. It would be super fun, but not something that we're actively working on. Now let's look at, this was a long question. So started talking to my friends on Discord through video chat using my rec room character. Okay, you mean like you're in Discord chat, but it looks kind of like I look now. And then you're asking for a camera. I'd actually like to know more about what you're doing there. That's kind of interesting. Have you tried using the streaming camera options that are in your watch? If you go to Settings, Advanced, you can do the streaming cam, and then on your desktop, you'll have some options about how to set it. That's only on the PC version. That doesn't work on PlayStation VR right now. But that's an option. But yeah, let me know more about what you're doing there. I'd be curious to know, because that sounds like a fun thing. Like, I think it's kind of fun to talk to you as my Rec Room character. And so, yeah, I could see, like, adding some features to make that kind of work better. So, let's see. MCW10121012 asks, how do you choose which rooms to feature? Okay, that's a good question. So, well, mainly we leave that to the community team. So Mama Monkey will often choose the rooms. We look at the data a little bit, see rooms that, people seem to be interested in. We'll often pick rooms that we think are doing a good job using some of the creation features, so that other people can kind of see, a clever use of something and be inspired by it. And very often, probably most often, we try and go for a theme. So, recently in the rec center, the featured door was pointed at the Mad Scientist contest rooms. So we saw Mythos Lab and Colossus and a bunch of the other rooms that were really cool. And so that had a good theme. Speaking of which, so we're actually kind of gearing up. We've seen a lot of chatter about this on the Discord, on the Reddit. People getting excited for Halloween. Here in the States, Halloween's coming up soon. And so just heads up, that's going to be a featured theme. So if you want to have a good chance of getting your room featured, start thinking about building something cool for Halloween. We're going to have a few interesting features that will probably help with that coming out in the next update. I won't say too much about that. But yeah, Halloween theme coming up. So you might want to think about what kind of cool thing could you build for Halloween. And with that, I'm going to try out this sniper thing that I've never tried, so I'm probably about to embarrass myself, but let's give it a go here. All right, so this is explosive sniping. So you get to see how bad I am at shooting things. No. Yeah, there we go. Hey! Alright, that's kind of cool. Whoa! Alright, whoa. Right, they're still going. That's terrifying. Okay, next question. LGZR3 asks, who does the voice for Coach? What do you mean, who does the voice for Coach? Well, I see Mama Monkey's answered this one. Coach, of course. There's your answer. Coach does the voice for Coach. We have to say does the voice. Thea555, who asks, could it be possible for the parents of junior accounts to be able to talk to them in-game? And maybe select a handful of other people max that they trust to be able to communicate with them and no one else. That way I don't have to open a Discord call every time I play with my kids. Yeah, good question. And actually we have done a little bit of research on this topic. The short answer is yes, it is possible. So I've talked about this a long time ago, when we first were doing junior accounts. We need to adhere to a federal law called COPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. That really kind of has a lot of regulations around, what users under 13 are able to do online, with the goal of protecting their privacy. But that said, we can allow things like parents to talk to their kids in the game as long as we obtain really high quality consent from the parent. And so that's the piece we're still thinking about, what that would look like. Honestly, it would probably be a paid feature, to be frank with you. because a verified credit card transaction is an example of a high quality consent mechanism under COPA. So yes, it's possible. It's on our list of things that we want to dig into, but because it's one of those things where we need to, make sure we do it really carefully, it's probably going to take a little longer. But yeah, it's a scenario we'd like to enable. We hear this request quite a lot, actually, and think it'd be really cool if you could jump in with your kids, chat with them. Maybe they've got, some very carefully vetted friends that they can hang out with in Rec Room. So yeah, I don't have a time frame on that one. Definitely a scenario that we're interested in supporting. Seems like legally and ethically and technologically it's something that we can do. We just got to measure twice and cut once on that one. We're going to be very careful and make sure we get it right. All right. Meme Stealer 6000 asks, what future plans do you have for art players, such as new types of brushes, canvases, stuff like that? A way to buy and sell paintings to hang in a room or in your dorm room was an idea of mine. Yeah, great question. So basically the plan is to continually add new features for creation in general, and including art like paintings and things like that. In the most recent update, when we did the game table, we added a paintbrush that can be recolored with the Maker Pen. So if you haven't tried that, I would go to the sandbox machine, grab the paintbrush out, try recoloring it with the Maker Pen. That gives you some additional colors. I think there might be some bugs that we will fix very soon with saving those colors. That's our bad, but we'll fix that. But yeah, we definitely want to support that. Something I really want to get to is being able to bring your photos into a custom room and resize them so that you can kind of use them a bit like textures. I want to be careful about promising timing on any of this. We got a lot of stuff in the pipeline, but that's definitely something we want to get to. And generally speaking, something that we're planning and have started doing some work on is savable and shareable objects. So apart from just being able to save an entire room, you could also just grab, a part of the room, like just the castle or just a tree or just something else that you built, like a painting, like you're talking about. Just save that and share it. First, you share it amongst your own rooms, and then as a second step, share it with other players. So all of that stuff is planned. Decent chunk of it will land before the end of the year. But yeah, our plan is to just constantly be updating the creative tools. All right. Next question. All right, let's see what we got here. AndrewMan03 asks, can you tell us the max team size in CMB, the new quest? Thank you. ILS changed the number up, so does this one do the same or no? And if you can't answer directly, can we at least know even or odd? Well, that's an excellent guess. Yes, the number is even or odd. Yeah, can confirm. All right, let's see what we got next. Surfer asks, what was the reason behind making hair dyes last only a few days? People were okay-ish with that. Hey, thanks. They'd have to buy it, but it should be in the dorm room as an option from the start. So yeah, so I think the idea with the hair dyes was kind of try it, see what it's like, see if people like it. And yeah, we definitely heard the feedback. Hey, we want permanent hair dye. We thought we'd start with temporary, just to kind of get it going. Definitely the plan is to add a permanent option. And so when you buy the permanent hair dye, that'll appear in your dorm room with your other hair colors, and you can then keep that hair color forever. So that is definitely planned. So we're going to add permanent hair dyes. We're going to release some more colors, all of that good stuff. Okay, so our next question is from Methric, who asks, what is the future of room creation? Surely you guys are doing more with the Maker Pen. Yes, definitely. Lots of improvements coming soon. But are you doing things like giving us more space and more options, like being able to change the lighting and more art stuff? Yeah, like I said a couple of questions ago, definitely planning to invest heavily in giving you more creation tools. I know people want more space, more ink in the sandbox machine. I think, over time, we're gradually able to shrink that down and give you more space. We got some pretty big architectural stuff happening that won't land until the new year. But I hope that will actually give us a fair bit more space. So stay tuned for that one. I wouldn't expect any major changes there this year. In terms of lighting, yeah, definitely a goal and something that I think we'll get to again on the same time frame. Probably won't land until the new year, but definitely giving you dynamic lights for custom rooms is on the roadmap. So the ability to place some number of lights and kind of have them light areas. In the meantime, just in case people aren't aware, in the maker room, so if you base your custom room on the maker room, which I'm in right now, there are some simple lighting options. These are basically skyboxes and different lightings. So if you go to subroom settings in the setup, you can step through a bunch of different options there. So that's pretty basic, I know, but it does give you some control over mood. And so that might tide you over until we get some richer lighting options in there, which is planned. So I'm Already Gone asks, will the Maker Pen creation saving and storing feature be retroactive for things made before it's released? Is it going to utilize the grouping mechanism? Good question. Yes. So the answer is yes. It will use the grouping mechanism in the Maker Pen. And actually, before we ship the saving objects feature, we're going to do a pretty nice revision on the Maker Pen UI to update the selection and grouping mechanisms, make it easier to understand, make it easier to use, kind of just generally require less tedious button pressing to do simple operations. So that is planned, not this update, I believe the following update, something like that. So we're probably 4 to 6 weeks away from a pretty big update to the Maker Pen UI. And right after that, we're going to jump on the saving and restoring objects. So yes, to go back to your original question, objects that already exist in your rooms, you'll be able to just select them, group them, save them, and take them into new rooms. You won't have to start from scratch. Okay, next question is from Virtuix, who asks, when will go-karts be added? Lol. Well, I've been instructed to reply the 32nd day of the 13th month, so that's the official answer. But really, I can't hear your question over this sweet go-kart I'm driving right now. Perfect, it's finished. Look, how could it get any simpler and better than that? All right, another question from Forbim. He asks, could we have a mode such that whenever the last player leaves a non-instantiable room and the room is about to be destroyed, the instance is about to be destroyed, the room is automatically saved in its current state, since that would bring us much closer to be able to create fully persistent custom rooms. So that's a really interesting idea, and the honest answer is I don't know, but that's something we're going to talk about on the kind of sandbox team. And see if that's a thing that makes sense. I definitely see what you're going for. Like, it's like, all right, I'm here in this room. I grab this. I kind of like move it. I put it over there very carefully, obviously. And now if I was to leave, could we just autosave? And next time I come back, everything's where I left it. Yeah, it's a really interesting thought. And we're just going to have to think about that one, because the short answer is I don't know. But yeah, good suggestion. Thank you. Zombie878 asks, question 1. When we have enemies in custom rooms, will we be able to control the amount of gold each player has? And if so, we'll be able to use the gold in any way purchasing items. Good question. Don't know. We've got a lot of design to do, before we get to, adding both enemies and kind of like custom room economies to the rooms you can create. Definitely something we want to get to. We'd like people to be able to, like, as they design out their games, kind of have their own kind of like, like a gold system from Lost Skulls, or even something more like the Frontier Pass from Rec Royale. Be great if people could create those kinds of systems for themselves. But yeah, I'd be making it up if I said I knew how all that stuff was going to work. We got a lot of thinking to do, but definitely the kind of thing we want to enable. Then you had another question, which was, will we be able to switch weapons enemies have, like give the goblin a bow? Yeah, definitely. When we do the enemies, I think it'll come in 2 flavors. We want to be like, probably you'll want to just be able to pull out the existing quest enemies and just use them as is, just plonk them in the world and off they go. But then we'll also want to be able to have it so you can customize those enemies, even make them out of your own Maker Pen shapes, and give them whatever kind of attacks and various abilities that you want. So yeah, definitely planned. Next question is from Forbim again. Forbim, you've been busy. Could we have an option for players to keep one or more stats when they change rooms? Yes, just got to figure out how it should work. This would actually be a great one to get on the Discord, get on the Reddit, maybe start up a thread, and let's talk about the kinds of things that people would want to do, because that'll influence how we want to design it. It should be, I'll get in trouble for saying this. It should be relatively easy to support that. Like some kind of like, you could imagine like a chip that's like a persistence chip that you can kind of write data to, and kind of as you go through rooms, you can keep a score, or you can keep a level or whatever. Definitely makes sense. Definitely something we want to do. Got to figure out how to do it. In terms of timing, because we haven't designed it yet, it's hard to say exactly when that one will land. That's a maybe before the end of the year. we're definitely going to try. But yeah, that one's on the roadmap for sure. I think that's going to, kind of is part of the next level of like creating cool experiences in Rec Room, is being able to like have some persistence between rooms. So yeah, good question. All right, next question is from Jerry J. Funk. Is it AG's intention to have VR players and screeners continue to exist as two different types of players, or will there be efforts to make the differences between them less obvious, essentially making their movements and animated behaviors look closer to real life? So yeah, we've been thinking about this a lot. So here's how we think about it. So I don't think the goal is to make screen mode players and VR players identical. I don't think that's ever going to be possible, just because of how much more input we get from VR players with the tracked hands, the tracked head. That said, our goal is to make screen mode players much more expressive and much more companionable, like better kind of playmates to hang out with, whether it's in the rec center or whether it's when you're playing paintball or whatever. And we think there's a lot we can do there. And some of it is like you kind of alluded to in your question, giving them more animation, making the animation a little more natural. And so there's some fun stuff we're going to try there. But yeah, really, the way we think about it is that, this is kind of a pretty new thing that we're doing. There's not that many apps that are mixing screen mode players and VR players. There's maybe VR chat, there's us, maybe some others. But yeah, it's a kind of an interesting new way of designing that is really interesting to us. And so we think there's like a lot of interesting new work we can do to make screen players delightful and interesting and fun to hang out with, and give them their own unique flavor, rather than trying to make them completely identical to VR players. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. You can expect to see us iterate on that over the next few updates. And yeah, give us feedback, let us know what you think. So speaking of, I was going to combine your question with one from Tacky Boy. Will there ever be an option to only play with VR players for everything? Computer players kind of ruin the experience for me. Well, yeah, so obviously sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you're not enjoying the experience of doing the kind of one big happy family with screen players. I think next step there is like I said, we want to make the screen players better companions, give them more ability to express themselves, make them feel more natural, and see how that goes. We do support in some rooms, like Paintball and PaintballVR. There is VR-only matchmaking available there. We haven't really thought too much about giving, maybe a VR-only rec center, although it's not, like, out of the question. We might do that. I think we just want to let things go a bit longer, get a bit more feedback, understand more how people are interacting, see how far we can get screen players feeling natural and fun, and then reassess. So yeah, stay tuned, keep giving us feedback. This is kind of a new frontier for all of us, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so our next question is from RR Chase. Can we have a resizable screen, like the one in the Rec Center, for custom rooms to display selected images from our RecNet profile? We could move it around and use it for art and decoration. So yeah, I love this idea. I think this is a really cool idea. I think a missing piece of the puzzle when building rooms is that currently there's no way to browse your photos when you're in the app. You can do it on RecNet, in a web browser, but you can't like open your watch, say, and like go through your photos. And I think that would be a really good addition if you could like browse any photo you've taken, pull it out, resize it like you're saying, and then use it kind of like a texture in your room. I think that would open up some really interesting creative possibilities. I think it's probably not too hard to do. I don't want to say too much about when we might do that. We got a lot of stuff queued up, as I've mentioned a few times. So yeah, great idea. Really love it. I think even just for like setting your room photo, I think you should be able to browse through your existing photos and pick one rather than our current really terrible take a photo with your watch flow, which is a little bit crazy. So yeah, I'm hoping we can get to that pretty soon. It's the kind of thing that we might be able to sneak in while we're doing some other things. But yes, definitely on the list for us. I think that's a great suggestion. Thank you. So Virtuix asks, what's the reasoning behind the symbol next to all of the room names? Doesn't it just make the room names seem harder to read and make the interface as a whole seem a little less clean? Yeah, maybe. I think probably we're overdoing it, but let me talk a little bit about what that symbol means to us. What we wanted was something that kind of made it clear when a word was actually the name of a room. So just the same way if you go on Twitter or something, that @Gribbly is a Twitter handle. That is my Twitter handle, by the way. But yeah, so you got your @ name, and then you got like hashtag. You kind of know as a topic on Twitter, and various other platforms. A lot of platforms have used that convention. There wasn't really a convention for what is a room, and so we kind of looked at the keyboard, and we're like, well, what symbols haven't really been used yet, and are easy to access on most keyboards and on the phone and stuff like that. And we noticed that the caret symbol, or this little upside down triangle thing, wasn't really used for much. And so we thought, hey, it kind of looks like the roof line of a house. That could be like a room, it's like, and so we kind of used that as our room symbol. And so the goal is that, anytime you see that symbol name, you'll know, oh, hey, that's a Rec Room room. That said, we probably did overdo it in the most recent Watch UI update, where it's like a million of those things everywhere. We kind of went crazy with tags and room symbols. So over time, we'll tweak that and back it off a bit and make it look a little less crazy. But that's the reasoning behind it. Yeah, we just want to unambiguously be able to say that's a room name as opposed to any other word. Probably the dumbest aspect, and this one's on me, is that Reddit actually uses that symbol to do superscript text, to make like tiny text. So often you'll go on our subreddit and someone tries to type a room symbol, and it actually makes the text kind of small and float above the other text, which is kind of funny but also kind of dumb. If you want to avoid that, you just type a / in front of it. When you're typing in your comment, you can go / room symbol, and then it'll come out right. I forget to do that half the time myself, but if you want to make it look right, that's how you do it. And then you had a second part to your question, which was, oh yeah, what's the difference between paintball and PaintballVR? So those are just two different room names. So there's a room called Paintball, and that contains a bunch of sub-rooms, which are all the different paintball maps, River and Clear Cut and Quarry and all that kind of stuff. And so Paintball is the pickup room, and by pickup we mean that Teleport VR players play in that room, Walk VR players play in that room, and Screen players play in that room all together, one big happy family. So the default paintball room is just called Paintball, and it accepts all kinds of players. Then we have Paintball VR, which is just a copy of Paintball, and the only difference is that it doesn't allow Screen players to join. And so that's, and actually it limits it to teleport only, so VR teleport only. And so we called that one Paintball VR. It's identical in every other way. It's got all the different maps in it, all the sub-rooms. But you go to Paintball VR, and it's got, the setting is changed so that only Teleport VR players can go there. And that's so, Paintball was originally designed to be a Teleport VR game. We know a lot of people prefer it that way, especially people who've been playing it for a long time. So we wanted to make it easy to just go to that variant room, and you could have the classic teleport-only Paintball VR experience. So Paintball, pickup room, one big happy family, everyone plays together. Paintball VR, you have to be a Teleport VR player to get in there and play with other Teleport VR players only. Does that make sense? So, yeah. Okay, so our next question is from Freestylin' Goblin. Will you ever be considering letting us use certain quest acts as custom rooms with no enemies? Yes, something we want to do. There's a few annoying technical things about the way quests are built that we got to untangle. That'll happen. But yeah, definitely the plan is that at some point you'll be able to like pull out, just the lava pit from Golden Trophy and have a party in there if you want. So don't know exactly when, but that's something we definitely know is possible. It's just a matter of doing some awkward and annoying work to make it work. All right, good question. Okay, let's see what we got here. So, from Aussie Rec Room Mema 42. Aussie Rec Room Mema 42. Right, A, nice to see another Aussie. How soon are you planning on adding more options for movement for stuff such as vehicles and zero gravity? I'm going to combine this with another question from Feline Gamer. When can we have gripable, climbable materials in the Maker Pen? I want to be able to climb and wall jump and do zip lines and stuff. Yeah, I want all those things too. And I think in the last AMA I talked about, our approach to locomotion is to stabilize the kind of teleport, walk VR, screen mode, and then do custom locomotions in the rooms. So in the custom rooms. So not sure on timing. There is some both technical and design challenges that we got to figure out. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably going to be when we do an update to Rec Royale, because we'll probably play with some variant. I hope we'll play with some variant locomotions for that, and that often makes it easier to kind of bring that stuff over to the UGC rooms and put them in the sandbox machine. So yeah, hopefully soon. I'm being vague because I don't want to make a really specific promise that you'll then get mad at me about, because we don't know exactly. There's like I said, some technical issues that we got to figure out. But yeah, it's definitely high on my list of priorities for something that I think would expand the vocabulary of creating custom games and experiences in Rec Room. So I really want that. Okay. Next question. Okay. All right. So I'm really starting to run out of time here, as you can see. So I'm going to get through just a few more questions here. Let me see what I got. Meme Stealer 6000 asks, is there going to be anything special about the music in Crescendo of the Blood Moon? Well, I sure hope so. Hopefully you'll think so when we're done. Actually, we do have something really cool planned for the music. I don't want to say anything in advance, but if it works out, I'll definitely share it with you after the fact. Okay, what else we got here? Whatever Greg says, a large part of my enjoyment in Rec Room comes from the conversations I have. Is there a way to filter out users who don't have a microphone? It's the difference between enjoying the game with a screener and feeling like I'm playing with an NPC. I don't mean to exclude deaf players, by the way. Yeah, sure, no, absolutely. So, something about microphone use. So we see, last time I checked, and it's been a while, I want to say like 20 to 30% of VR players choose not to use a microphone. So that's definitely a valid choice that we want to support and respect. And actually something that's been on my list for forever, and I'm hoping we can sneak in pretty soon, is screen mode players have an ability to type chat messages that appear in a bubble above their head. I want to give that to VR players as well. So VR players who choose not to use a microphone have a communication option. But then, yeah, on the flip side, like you said, yeah, I think something that would definitely improve the experience of hanging out with screen players is if more of them had microphones. So we've been thinking about ways we can encourage that. One simple way we're going to do is just when you log in on a screen, just in the dorm room, if you don't have a microphone, we're going to say, hey, you should probably have a microphone. So just at least kind of like put the thought in people's head. And I bet that bumps the percentage a little bit of people who use the microphone. But yeah, then we're actively thinking about ways we can encourage more usage, how to make the chat feature better. And as I've said in other answers, like just generally how to make screeners, screen mode players a little bit more, good playmates, good to hang out with. But yeah, no, I agree. I think getting microphone usage up for screen players is definitely a target for us. So yeah, good question. Let me see what else we got here. Question via Mama Monkey from the Redditless. Oh, I guess she doesn't have a Reddit account. Little Kiwi. Is there going to be any more Rec Room sports activities? Yes, there is. Absolutely. Not going to say any more than that, but yes. Okay, what else we got? I think we might be just about done. Did that one. Okay, well, we may have... Okay, I think we may have covered everything, actually. So, with that, I'm going to call it. 6:43 left to escape this room, so I can go home for the night. But yeah, hopefully you got some good information out of this. We'll do it again next update, so in about 2 weeks. Yeah, please keep the questions, keep the feedback coming, and have fun out there. All right, see ya.